No, there's a place where Don Carson says, just because there's no, just because there's no expression of, let's see, he's got a great place, a great line, where he says, basically says, there's no theological statement that's not culturally incarnate. There's no theological a statement that's not culturally conditioned, but that doesn't mean the Bible is culturally conditioned. It just means that when I come to the Bible, I'm going to have to read it as an inhabitant of my culture. That doesn't mean the Bible's culturally conditioned. And what it would mean would be if, unless we would say it, a Scottish person, a Japanese person, an African and an American, that there's no overlap in their humanity. If we say there's no overlap in your humanity, then we would say, oh my goodness, I mean, everybody's getting something different out of the Bible. The fact is that there's a common core that you can see. You can go back through the centuries, and you can go look at all the cultures, and you do see a common core, but there's just an awful lot of other things that are different, and they are affected by our culture. And that doesn't mean that we're Dr. Clowney used to say, put it this way, you do not, your theology is a response to the questions you ask the Scripture. Nobody can ask all the questions. You are who you are, you have a limited amount of time, so everybody asks a certain set of questions. You maybe ask 50 or 500 or 5,000. But no, everybody's asking different questions. And of course, when I ask a question, I say, what does the Bible say about that? And I get to answer, there's my theology. But since nobody's asking the very same set of questions, everybody's theology is a little different. That doesn't mean that the Bible is culturally conditioned. And it doesn't mean there's no overlap between all the different sets of questions, which would be your more transcultural, core of what your theology is. But honestly, everybody's culture does affect the way you do theology. John Frame, I think, has that worked out quite well. What that means is I do believe in contextualization, and I do understand that, and I still can say my foundation is the Scripture. My foundation is not my community or what the Spirit is telling me. I mean, I have to judge my experience by the Scripture. I have to judge my community by the Scripture. I have to judge my culture by the Scripture. I don't judge my Scripture by the culture. Never. So, and yet I know the culture is affecting the way in which I read the Scripture. It brings humility. It brings a carefulness when you're talking to people who differ with you. But it certainly doesn't bring a relativism that says, well, therefore nobody knows who's right. I didn't say that. I don't think that's true.